key prize finalists. So today we will be having him talk to us about the Teachers Prize and what we'll be having him talk to us about the Teachers Prize, why it's important for teachers to improve and build themselves, and also a bit on what the effects COVID had on education and how teachers adapted to the situation and still continue to offer learning to their students. So please, can we just say hello in the chat box, welcoming Mr. Opefa. Hello. Hello, Mr. Opefa.
So can you hear me now, AJ?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I think something is wrong with my headphone. Good
Okay.
evening. I said, let me just stick to AJ before I will mispronounce your name again. It's good to just stick to instructions. Okay. Does that mean I've been called to start or just an introduction?
Yes,
let
you
me just be
can start. You've been called to start, sir.
All right. Oh, this is live. Let me just. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad to be an ambassador of ID Teacher Prize. And quickly permit me to stand on whatever protocol the project manager must have laid, that is Ajumbi. Thank you very much. So I respectfully stay on the protocol or stand on the protocol. And my full regards to those who have won the prize before me, and then those who actually won after me. I think I can see a name of someone now. She's more of like a senior in one award, and at the same time now I think I'm a senior in Idea Award, and that's Calista. Calista is my senior when it comes to Multina Teacher of the Year. She was one of the runner-ups in 2017, I guess, or 2016. Okay, and then so many people to respect in the house. I can see Mr. Abiodun Beyond and the rest of them. And interestingly, I must recognize my own student who is now a teacher, an English teacher for that matter. Don't worry, some of these days will tell our story for the world to hear and admire the type of teacher I am now. So full regards at the same time to Mr. Abbas. I believe our convener is in the house too. I can't see his name here, but good evening, Mr. Abbas, wherever you are or anytime you are watching this. So quickly, let me jump to the assignment given to me. Let me check whether I want to do this. I want to share my speech. I got this information very late. I believe a lot has happened to us in the house. Sincerely, maybe it's not my time to talk about that, or maybe somewhere along the line, I'm going to just mention it briefly. So I think my speech is bereft of errors, I guess. Let me see if I can share, then scroll from there, everybody can read. And I will have summarized everything the project manager had said we'll do. But before I move on, I must say that I personally recognize what we have gone through as a family in the ID family, the loss of our mother, and that is the proprietress of the school. That's the Wisdom International School of Excellence. I mean, this is a very painful thing because I remember when I got my award in 2018, she was the one that handed over the laptop to me. Yes, and I still have the picture till today. I mean, when I heard, I cried. I moved out of where I was, and it was really a painful one. We pray that our soul rest in perfect peace. So let me quickly move on to my speech. Let me see if I can share. I guess I have the permission to share.
Yes.
Share screen.
Yeah, I'm asking them to make you a host. So I think very soon.
I think I can share.
Yeah, yes, you can now.
Okay. All right, this is my speech somewhere here. I would have loved to put it in PowerPoint, but let me just read to it. And I believe you also follow as I read too. Teachers are the heart of education recovery, and I'll be looking at unleashing the home takers. What is missing? Education that was begging for survival was suddenly plunged into a ditch of abandonment because of the pandemic. The reality of the campaign of Leave No One Behind jumped at all of us when the children of the rich and the poor roam at home, and just to have a new definition of schooling. During the pandemic, education was amiss. The only instrument to rely on became seriously unavailable, and even when it was available, it was inadequate, and that is technology. Teachers became very essential workers, though unsung heroes. We were sought after regardless of the platforms. Synchronous, asynchronous learning platforms, all social media platforms became our learning management system. The classrooms became so small that our smallest phones and radio swallowed them all. Can we get at it quickly? Teachers are seen as the messiah of recovery. We became the proverbial David, who should pursue, overtake, and recover all. The responsibility has been laid at our doorstep. It is left for us to take the bull by the horns, or better still, grab the whole bull. Inside the horn of the bull lies the job recovery, or lies the job of recovery. And it doesn't take a giant to grab our proverbial horn. Or may I ask, what was the size, permit me to use words now, what was the size of Olalekan Adieko when his tech innovation in the classroom took him around the world as the arguably most traveled teacher in Nigeria? I believe Soji Megbone's biceps wouldn't threaten a ram, let alone a bull, when his Teenspreneur hub made him a local solution with a global recognition. The Wonder Woman in Adeola Adefemi is not wearing a cape, yet miracles of unprecedented transformation rock our classroom and the entire school with hundreds of awards every year. The fat account of Ayodele Ojoegbola was millions of miles away from Obi Kubana's, yet he sponsored student visa to Germany for a competition. My brother SM Nofu, stubbornness would make wouldn't make him to stop chasing. Wouldn't make him to stop chasing mass phobia everywhere. Do you want to talk about Kemi Ogunsanya, the class decorator of the year? Nkem Obi, whom I believe must have been drinking the ethanol of the passion of our classroom, of the chemistry laboratory. My humble self was once less prepared for a job because of my beautiful stature. Yet, no bull of literacy has escaped my grab locally and internationally. And today I have a testimony in the house who is also taking after her father. There are teachers in this country who are on the chase of education recovery, and all you can do is to join in taming the mad bull of learning poverty. As a hunt taker teacher, or let me put it this way, a hunt taker teacher is above all creative and problem solving in nature. We are meant to show ways where there seems to be none. Mark my word, seems to be no way. A hunt taker doesn't cry for dearth of resources, but creatively make a lot available. A hunt taker teacher is a connector. He reaches to both professional colleagues and beyond to make knowledge available. His competition is tested on how much he collaborates with everyone around him for his students to learn. A hunt taker, as a matter of fact, doesn't see any technological tool as too small or irrelevant to make learning take place. His phone, radio, etc. are instructional materials. A hunt taker teacher, above all, is a learner of his subject. His commitment to quality education makes him a lifelong learner. His students are known as rugged, undying knowledge seekers as they climb on the shoulder of their teacher. Dear colleague, in summary of everything I'm saying, the bull against education recovery is loose. His presence in the society, as it dashes uncontrollably here and there, like the breast of a mad woman on a hot chase of her breast snatcher, is more dangerous than a time bomb. The least you can do is to jettison blame laying and focus on getting a rope to tame the danger of poor or no education and its consequences. A little help for that child, a little there for that classroom, just small minutes of self-development, a smile to connect to a colleague, a gift of a book or a pen, or attendance at that course or training of the less knowledgeable teacher can surely help education recovery. Happy Teachers Day to everyone, and God bless our education. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, you can continue.
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
I guess I am faster than the time given to me. I'm done with my speech.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for coming online and for giving us that wonderful speech. I could see the English, all the literary puns and all the, should I say, is it metaphors or what do they call those figure of speech that you're using to describe all the wonderful teachers doing great things all over Nigeria. At least I know a few of them. I'm just hearing about the math phobia guy, but I've heard about Mr. Soji, Mr. Adeko, Mr. Odigbola. They are doing wonderful things for students, and that's really great. And that's why we need to be talking about the great things teachers are doing, because almost all the things they are doing is selfless and they keep giving of themselves. So I want to say thank you, Mr. Wakwefa, for coming online. We have some representatives from the Ministry of Education in Maiduguri and the vice principal from the girls' school, from the government girls' college, where we support 18 girls in school. So I'm hoping if they're online, they can just indicate so that we can allow them to give a few words before we continue.
Try.
Hello.
Finish. I got to better.
All right. I guess the two representatives from the Ministry of Education and from Government Girls College are not around. So we'll just go up to the next agenda that we have. So this year, we put up the entries in early August, and by September we've got a few entries, and towards the end of the month we had more entries. So after a serious assessment by our panelists, which consisted of our guest speaker today, Mr. Sunen Atswe and Mr. Sojimek Bawon, we're able to come up with the top 5 candidates for today. So I will be sharing a screen, or maybe not, but
hello, PM. Hello.
yes,
Hello?
yes, yes.
Maybe before you share screen, people may want to ask questions from Mr. Akwefa. Can you allow for 2 or 3 questions,
Yeah.
clarifications?
Okay, sir. All right. So Mr. Abbas has asked if anyone has any question from Mr. Okwefa. Now is the time. We have a few minutes. We have like 5 minutes. You can ask questions and he'll be able to respond to those questions. So the floor is open. Hello, does anybody have a question?
Okay, if people doesn't have, I have one. I have one question. Looking at the, can I go on, please?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, so good evening, Mr. Kwefa and everyone in the house today, fellow teachers. Looking at the team of this teacher prize today, teachers at the center of education recovery. How much do you think that teachers are actually prepared, empowered to support the recovery efforts in the education sector? Thank you. Over.
Okay. All right. I think Mr. Abbas must be probably a military man before he said over. And if PM will not mind, AJ.
Yes, I don't mind,
There's
sir.
another question here that's saying that what exactly are
Yeah.
parameters of education
We are
recovery?
from Abiodun Beyond.
Beyond, yes. Mr. Beyond is a great educator in Nigeria. I think we need to meet him one day too. Okay, let me answer Mr. Abbas' question, and probably I'm going to also shift straight to the parameters for education recovery. But remember quickly that Nigeria or Africa generally seems to be a very unique space, that what happens everywhere, the way it happens in Africa is a little bit different. So I'm going to be looking at things from another different angle. And that's from what I said in the speech. This is not the time to start laying blame and saying this has not happened, this one has not happened from the government, blame the principal, blame private sectors, and blaming people. Yes, teachers quite right might not have been fully prepared. Yes, I went to the university, I studied education. I can't beat my chest fully that the education I received as an undergraduate is what is building me today now. However, when you look at the situation around you and you are called a messiah and the responsibility is laid at your doorsteps, at your feet to take up and do something, I think you've got to prepare yourself. And that is one thing I do. And the examples I cited figuratively in my speech, all these ones, I can bet it with any amount that none of them was actually prepared by any system. Individually saw the need, and individually rather we saw the needs, and then we decided to make a change. So answering Mr. Abbas' question, teachers might not have been prepared by the system, by anybody. However, there is what we call self-responsibility and self-leadership. So it is necessary for every teacher now to now sit back and say, yes, this is the change I want. It starts with me and I want to effect it. And you start no matter how small. I remember in the classroom, I used to have one Symbian phone in those days, and I used to teach oral English with my Symbian phone. I mean, no computer, no laboratory, and I would still type the word and press it and take it to the student one by one for them to listen to. My heart was in recovery. My heart was in transformation. Gradually, I got my own small laptop, and I would still bring it to the classroom. Another time, I got a big one, which later fell down. Yet I didn't give up. Until today now, I'm inside a classroom now, equipped by my humble self, that almost all teachers can come in here now and have their lessons. So you may not have been prepared actually by a system the way it is operating in other countries. However, as a teacher, as a recoverer, as the David of our own generation, it is very important for us to come out of our own in our own way and then prepare ourselves, and gradually from one step to another we recover what we call education. But first thing, it starts from you. How much are you willing to learn? Because if you are not recovered yourself, you can't recover others. So you are ready to learn as a teacher, you are a lifelong learner, and then you move forward, and then something great will happen. Now, going to I believe I've answered Mr. Abbas' question. It starts with you. Mr. Abiodun Beyond, he said, what exactly are the parameters for education? I think he now added, are we trying to recover from the effect of the pandemic and bring education to what it was before the pandemic? Or there are specifications of the outcomes you are pushing with this recovery? Fine, fantastic. In one of the interviews I granted at The Guardian on Sunday. Pre-pandemic, we were told that something was wrong with education. I think I put that in my speech somewhere there at the introduction. The education at that time was actually begging for recovery, was actually begging for survival. And suddenly, pandemic came and threw us into this ditch, and it got worse, I must say. It got worse, I must say. Many students did not return to the classroom. Many teachers lost their jobs, did not even come back to the classroom. So we are now returning to what it was, because what it was not the right thing. But the pandemic exposed our eyes to see what true education is. And what is education? It showed that our education was beyond the classroom. Something is wrong with my internet. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yes, we.
So we are not recovering the old thing, quite all right. We are not recovering. All right, I'm with you. We are not recovering the old thing, but the pandemic exposed us to what true education is. For the first time, we realized that a school cannot be defined by the four walls anymore. In the reality of it, we've been talking about it. A classroom is anywhere learning can take place. Mark the word anywhere. But the reality dawned on us when the pandemic struck. So what we are recovering is true education. Education that can build a true man. Education that a child will receive and will come back into society and become a solution. That is what we are recovering. Education that will make us innovators. Education that will turn us to creators. Not education as it were, where we can cram and then pour it for our egg and have our certificate. No. Education that can bring about right solution is what we are recovering. I believe I've been able to answer that question. And then my sister is also adding to it that it is more of discovering new ways of doing things, learning, not recovery in its sense. But remember, this is a global term. It's a global theme for the year. So some are recovering their own, and then why we are discovering our own Nigeria. Thank you, Kalista.
Thank you, Mr. Kwaifa, for that, for answering all the questions. Thank you for very much for being so willing of your time. I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Itam. He's the representative of the director of bilateral services in secondary education board in the FCT Abuja. He was online just now. I know his network is a little bit fluctuating. So if he's here, would like him to just say a few words and winners. Hello, is Mr. Itam still online? I saw him just now.
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello, we
Hello?
can hear you, Mr. Abbas. Hello, we can hear you, sir.
Hello, this is Danjuma Bukar from Maiduguri. Hello?
Oh, welcome, sir. Good evening. Hello, we can hear you.
Okay.
Hello, we can hear you. Good evening,
okay.
sir.
Okay, you're welcome. As I said, I'm Danjuma Bukar from Maiduguri, not the vice principal, and I'm not representing the Ministry of Education, but I am one of the teachers with the public school. That's Government Girls College, Maiduguri. Hello?
Okay. Yes, sir. You're welcome. Thank you for being online.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot to discuss as the program goes on.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. All right, sir. Mr. Abbas, can we go to Mr. Ita is no longer online? Is it possible for us to go on to the unveiling of the finalists?
Can I jump in a bit?
No. Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, I want to drag our guest speaker feet a bit, Mr. Kwaifa. And I want us to look more into the question from our colleague that is talking about indicators? Do we have indicators to measure our level of recovery? I think that, Mr. Kwefa, we may need to look at this more because at the end of the day, we can be a bit scientific. We can be a bit scientific to look at what progress are we in terms of whether we are recovering or not. Can you hear me? I'm in a noisy place. Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that if we are a bit more scientific, we can then be able to have a scale, like a Likert scale, or levels to measure the level of our recovery. I'm saying that if we put at a scale of instance, what level of recovery are we from what has happened, particularly from the COVID-19 that a lot of our children stay at home? Have we recovered from that? As schools recovered from that? What is the level of recovery, and what can we use to measure the level of our recovery? Can we say that maybe 30–40% of our teachers are now attuned with the current realities? If, for instance, now we have another pandemic, for instance, do we have ideas on how to deal with it? Now, if we also look at the north-south region or the urban schools, and we say that the level at which the rural schools are recovering is the same with which the urban schools are recovering. When I mean urban and rural, now maybe we pick Meitama schools and compare it to Kuje schools, for instance, or we look at the states. So we might look at that more and see in the context of even that my question that are teachers prepared, empowered? Because now we have seen this COVID and we see how the pandemic is still going on. A lot of the effects that's done before, but how are we prepared post-COVID? And also, are we prepared to respond if there's another COVID? So I want us to look at it that way and begin to see what we need to do at the level of teacher development, at the level of school development, at the level of technology, at the level of infrastructure, at the level of even our educational policy. Do we have an educational policy that is prepared for this or that can respond to this? So I just want to try to pull our legs a bit and let us brainstorm more a bit. Thank you. Over.
All right. Okay. Let me quickly respond again to Mr. Abbas there. Truly, I do not have any scientific fact figure here now to say this was what it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, before the pandemic, and then this was what we lost, and then this is where we are, and this is where we are going. Of course, I do not have that, but I'm going to quickly check from what one of my mentors said recently. That's Professor Ajiboye. He noted, but it's a general view that more than 1/2 of Nigerians do not have access to the internet. Now, looking from that angle now, this education in 21st century, education of post-pandemic now, is the one that should be driven by technology. Now, if 2/3 of the population of the country have no access to internet, then where do we go from there? That's one very dangerous recovery that we may. However, so my own point actually, and what I have really grabbed as a teacher is this: regardless of the situation around me, since I cannot do so much, I am not making policy. Highest I can do is to implement whatever policy and probably adjust it as much as I am allowed to. So I try my best as a teacher, and that is the call I am making to everyone and every teacher around me. In your little corner, wherever you are, be willing and try your best to make a change. Just cause a little change. Imagine we have the way I am doing, the way Olalikon is doing, the way we have David Ludara doing, and some other private school teachers and public school teachers in Nigeria. We have about 1,000 of us spread everywhere, regardless of where you are, either in the north or in the south. Regardless of the policy that is existing, a lot of change will have happened. I mean, I heard the story of a girl, Precious Ade Gunle or something, one of the Teach for Nigerian girls, that went out to do crowdfunding for students to get tablets for students during the pandemic. Now, instead of us having like 10 or 20 people like that, we have people now who are doing crowdfunding for one BBN or Big Brother Nigeria program. You can imagine doing that for education. Regardless of what the government wants to do. I actually don't, the problem of Nigeria is so huge. You can't start looking at it from an analytical perspective. You can only talk theories at the end of the day. But I think action is demanded of every single teacher. And that is why they are putting us at the heart of recovery. They know what's happening around the world, that teachers' salaries are not well paid good salaries. Yet we are still at the heart of recovery of this. Now, and I love the way Calista put it. In Africa, we are not recovering. Probably we are only discovering what education truly is, as Mr. Abiodun now beautifully reframed. So personally, away from policy, away from Likert theory, away from other things, away from where we are, teachers should just be ready. And that takes us to what you said also earlier, that are teachers truly ready? Now, that is, who do we have as teachers? Are they the ones that will just enter the classroom and tomorrow NNPC is employing and then you see millions of them applying? Are they the ones that tomorrow now they see another job, Bitcoin is selling well, they abandon the student and the classroom and they are out there? So I think we need to also have teachers with commitment in our classroom. With that, either recovery, either discovery, something great will happen. Sincerely, Nigerian case at times can make you to be very pessimistic about the fact that yes, something great can happen. I remember in an interview I was asked, do you think something great can still happen in Nigerian education? Well, I have to just be optimistic, but I must tell you, looking at the reality, number of out-of-school children and so many things, sincerely, we may not want to lift our head and say, yes, we can do it. But however, I believe one teacher to one student, one pen, as it is said, one biro, one book, one teacher can make a great change. So I'm going to rest on this. I'm not going to be talking about policy and implementation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwaifa. Thank you very much for your contributions. Does anybody have anything to add to the recovery topic conversation we are having? Now is the time. You can make your contributions either on the chat box or on the through speaking over with your mic. Thank you.
I think Alista makes a good point there. Exactly. Everything boils down to policy making. The major recovery is for teachers to make efforts wherever we are. Just be committed. Probably we are recovering our commitments to education, regardless of our disappointment during the pandemic, and ensure your passion and commitment. So Mr. Abbas said, either recovery or discovery, something is happening. Yeah, regardless of whether we are recovering or we are discovering, I think we are having quality education. What we just want is, can we have quality education, education that can sustain us in the 21st century? And I think bloom wherever you find yourself as a, oh yes, bloom wherever you find yourself as a teacher. It is not easy. we have to just do something. That is just the truth. We just have to do something. If you have seen this job as our calling, I think we just have to do something. We just have to do something, no matter how small it is. Thank you, Kalisa, for your contribution to that. I think a lot of people have saved me from Mr. Abbas now.
Yes, they have. Thank you very much. If I have the permission of Mr. Abbas, I would like to continue.
Mr. Kalista, there's a hand raised by Mr. Biodun.
Okay, please, he can go ahead.
All right, thank you so much for the platform. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well, sir.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to share a thing or two. Thank you, Mr. Okwefa. Great job you're doing. And to Heidi, it's actually my first time of connecting with the good work that you're doing. Of course, I've been seeing the strides here and there. All right, so just a quick one because I have to be on another call in the next 7 minutes. All right, valuable point we've shared all here, but I just want to share something that was inspired by all the activities around today's World Teachers Day celebration. I kind of like repurposed something that I've been sharing for some time now, though not exactly for the education space, but repurposing for the education space now because it seems to really kind of apply to the situation we find ourselves with the education sector in Nigeria. Recovery, yes. That's a major takeaway for me from this session is Mr. Okwefa's submission that we want to get back to what education should be, whether we've had it ever before in Nigeria, in Africa or not. It's time for us to get back to true education. So what I want to share is about what we can do individually, collectively with platforms like this. I think it begins with learning the lessons from the pandemic, okay? Learning our lessons. And we should not just throw the experience from the COVID crisis. There are treasures in those ruins. We should learn the lessons. Mr. Okwefa touched on how by the pandemic we realized that education is not confined to classrooms. That's a very valuable lesson, a very priceless treasure that we all should take from this experience. So we should learn the lessons individually, collectively. We should. Number two, we should find our why. So Mr. Okwefa has been talking about how that we all should just be doing something, okay? But then it's not much about just effort, okay? It must be purposeful. It must be well directed. And I think the best of that comes from you as a person or as an organization, being clear on your why. It helps us to connect to inspiration. We're not just talking about just doing what somebody else is doing somewhere else, okay? Our situations in Nigeria are unique, and the solutions can only come from us when we are connected to inspirations that are original to us here. It will also help us to connect to enthusiasm because it takes a lot of energy. I mean, I really know what it must be for the people behind ID, Mr. Okwefa with the Teacher X platform, all of the work that goes into all of these things. It takes enthusiasm, it takes energy. So finding our why helps us to stay grounded and helps us to keep the steam when the going is really tough, okay? Then also we must be able to direct our focus. So if we have discovered our inspiration, if we have realized, okay, this is where we should be going in Nigeria, we must be able to beat all distractions and they just focus, okay? There's a lot of things happening in the world today, but we should know what we're about and keep that focus. Fourthly, we should be ready to embrace the new, okay? There's a lot of COVID drilled the line between what was and what should be, okay? So we must, as teachers, we must be able to embrace innovation. The only way to fast track this recovery is with innovation, and all of that, much of that revolves around technology, of course, these days. So it's not a time for you to say I'm not techie. It's not a time for you to say, oh, this is just some fad. No, you really need to be ready to drive this innovation with recovery. Then individually, collectively, we must be positioned for recovery. There's an internal positioning, and there's this also this outward positioning that we need, that would help us to set out towards the right destination. Okay, and last 2 points, I would say that we must be ready to rise. Enough of the talk. Let's rise, teach, and make this recovery a reality. Okay, get our hands in the work. Okay, let's stop doing the talk. We must just walk. It's a dream. We must walk it out. And finally, we should be ready to build to last, something that transcends you, something that is not just about you as a person. Build something that is able to survive beyond you. Think legacy. Okay, keep thriving, keep rising, and keep raising others. Think legacy. That's very important. So I just wanted to share that as my action plan for this recovery on individual and maybe collective levels. And also want to say that teachers were heroes. Okay, not all heroes were capable. Okay, some hold markers and talks. Okay? We are the real MVPs in the education recovery mission, and we must just be ready to save the day. Okay, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Kudos to you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun, for your input. It was very enlightening, and all the great things. I hope teachers all the teachers that are here, including myself, will work towards implementing the ideas he has mentioned, even in every little way we can, and we'll have and make great strides. Thank you very much. Is there any other person that would like to just contribute? Then we'll move on to the final part of our conversation.
Can go ahead, PM.
All right, thank you very much. Please, is Calista still online? Can she just give us a brief video of herself? I've been trying to you share your picture, but it's unfortunate I've not been able to do that. So please, can you just show a picture of yourself or your face so everybody can see you? She has been very active on the chat box, Mrs. Calista Ome Ezoke. I would like to introduce her. She was a 2020 winner for the ID Teachers Prize last year, despite the COVID pandemic, with everybody being on lockdown. She did great and amazing things during the lockdown with her students, and with all her inputs, she was the top teacher last year. And I just want to appreciate her for always supporting and contributing to the conversation when it comes to teacher welfare, education in general, and how to improve the quality of education we have in Nigeria. So moving forward, now we've come to the final part of the program this evening. We put out as I said earlier, we put out the entries, and we received a lot of entries. And after all the assessments and the whittling down of entries, we're able to come up with a top 5. So I'm going to start mentioning them from the 5th position up to the final position. In 5th place, we have a teacher from Ogun State. He is a teacher with Wisdom International School of Excellence, Iwokmin. And if you've read about Iwokpin, you'll know that it's a very rural community. And he's our top 5. He's the 5th. He came 5th amongst the entries that we got today. So I'll be reaching out to him to send him his award. In 4th place, we have Victoria and Dream Peter from Government Girls College, Maiduguri. And in 3rd place, so that's our 2nd runner up, is Kayode Adewale from Odua Comprehensive Secondary School. From Odua Comprehensive Secondary School in Imoru, Ijebu. In 2nd place, hello, can we still hear me? In 2nd place, we have David Oluwadara from Olashore International School, Iloko, Ijesa. And in 1st place, we have Gladys Adebayo from Government Day Secondary School, Karo, Abuja. So those are our top 5, and I'll be communicating with every one of them on how to send their prizes to them before the end of the week. So I want to appreciate everybody for being online. So I'm going to give the floor now to Mr. Abbas to give us the vote of thanks and the closing remarks for today. Hello, Mr. Abbas.
Yes, PM, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much for your work every time, making sure that we can make our own contribution to the educational development of Nigeria. I want to do a vote of thanks, and then I will leave the closing remarks to someone in the house. There's a referent in the house, Reverend Samuel Labuja. Reverend, are you still in the house, huh? Reverend Samuel, are you still in the house, sir? Okay, maybe he's no longer in the house. I will have called him to do the closing remark. But since he's not in the house, I will still call one of our colleagues. Probably Mr. David Oluwadara. Mr. David Oluwadara, are you still in the house?
Yes, sir, I am, sir.
Okay, I will please plead with you to please do the closing remarks. I will do the vote of thanks. Thank you, sir. Is that fine with you?
All right, sir. All right, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, it's important that we should appreciate everyone. We can't appreciate him less. Our guest speaker, Mr. Okwefa, even at short notice, is always available with ID. We are proud of you. We are proud that you are a great champion, champion of champs and a leader of the process, a leader of a process, and a lot of people look up to you, and we hope that you will continue in this line. I also want to appreciate our PM, Mrs. Ajumbi, for always being on point every time and ensuring that ID is always here. It's been a challenging period, and that's why I brought up the issue from our friend beyond that, the issue of a recovery, even for us, we're trying to recover from this pandemic, from a lot of things that have happened. And that's why because we know that in our annual plan, October 5 should not be left behind. And that's why we are doing this today. If not for the pandemic, it used to be a very big program for us where we have a lot of meetings and all that. So we really want to appreciate everybody behind the camera, our technical person, Engineer Isaka, the assessors, Mr. Soji, Mr. Kwefab, Sune Asue, all the staff of ID, making sure that this day come to pass, and getting all the awards, all the prizes done, and also the winners of our prize. We are not surprised. I'm sure that you will bear me witness in the coming months or in the coming years that a lot of ID prize winners are also national winners and global winners. We can attest to that. We've seen that from all our previous winners. So I really want to appreciate the winners today, the 5 top finalists for today. We will get across to you to give you your gift or your prizes. And I want to encourage all of you, the way Okwefa has been doing with us, making sure that since 2018 we've been in this together. Please, all the past winners, let's continue in this light. As Okwefa has said, whether we are recovering or discovering, let's make sure that we keep doing things. We keep being ourselves. We keep pushing on. We keep in our own cubicle. We keep doing what we want to do. And also for everybody that have been trying to support ID one way or the other, we appreciate all of you. And we hope that all of us will continue to make the education space in Nigeria to be a vibrant one where we can all leave a legacy. Thank you so much. And over now to the closing remarks.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Abbas, for the vote of thanks. Thank you to everyone who has joined this meeting and stayed online up until now, even those who have left. I should first of all thank the organizers of this. As a winner, as I'm the first runner-up. So I should first of all say thank you for that honor. It's quite a big one because it's not very often that we get teachers from schools that are usually called the elite schools to be recognized for awards, because generally the assumption is that because they are working in an elite environment, so they are not really doing anything extra. So that is not the case. And thank you for debunking that tonight by giving me this award. I am truly grateful. As a closing remark, I sent something into the chat box earlier, which has been my mantra for about 2 years now. And that's about growth. Growth. In biology, we say that every living thing grows. That's a characteristic of living things. But I'm afraid if we actually still have adults that are still growing, because once we stop growing, then everything begins to go on a downward spiral from there. So as we go, my closing charge will be, let us all go with a growth mindset. Let us have this mindset that seeks growth. If we seek growth, we will know that to gain growth does not come easy. For you to grow, you get more challenges. You get to overcome challenges. You get to surmount obstacles. Growth is not handed out on a platter. Former Lagos State Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola said the reward for hard work is more work. So if we continue to see the issue of education in Nigeria as a government problem or as a policy problem, oh, they are the reason, then we will not get anywhere. And as a matter of fact, we will limit our own growth by ourselves. So even if it is for the sake of our own growth, let us continue to do everything that we can within our places of influence to create solutions, even where there seems to be a lot of obstacles on our way. So that is where I'll leave it for tonight. And on behalf of the recipients of this year's award, I again say a very big thank you. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you to the guest speakers. Thank you to all my fellow teachers who have been doing great things all over the world. And on this day and every day, actually, I say Happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you very much, Mr. David, for your closing remarks. Mr. Okwefa has asked if any of the winners are around, they can just make a little bit, may say something about how they feel and what they think about winning. So please, if Mrs. Gladys is available, or Mr. Roki, or Mr. Adewale Kayode, this would be a great time to just say something. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adebayo Gladys from Government Day Secondary School, Karo. I want to sincerely thank the organizers of this program for giving me the opportunity to participate in this year's ID Award program. I want to say that right now I am very thankful to everyone and promise that subsequently, when this program is organized, I will do my very best to participate and to give in my best. Like one of the awardees rightly said, the result of hard work is more work. Thank you so much. God bless us. Happy Teachers' Day.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, I can't hear anything. Are we still on?
Hello, I think the winner was trying to speak, but I think her network is poor.
She already rounded up.
Maybe PM, maybe for lessons for all of us and for other teachers. Since Kwefa is still here, can we brief, in conclusion, look at next steps? What are the next steps? What should teachers look up for with ID and all that as a next steps, as a concluding parting discussion?
Can you please turn off the video because you're on the live stream?
Hello, sir. I didn't hear what he said. He was breaking.
She should turn on our video because we are on live stream. Let her turn on our video.
Okay. So I want to thank everybody for coming to join this program this evening. I appreciate everyone for taking out time to be here. And I wish everybody a good night rest, and hope we'll be able to have this conversation going forward on another platform. Thank you very much and good night.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone. Congratulations to Mr. David Oludara, to
Thank you.
Kayode, and to Mrs. Gladys. Who is
Mr.
going to pop
David
champagne for us? Uluwadara.
Not Oludara.
Okay,
Hello,
Uluwadara.
PM, what I'm saying is, what is the next step? Are there other programs lined up on the ID teacher development program? Are there things people should look out for? What are the next steps?
Please, I can't hear you. It's breaking. Can we use the chat box? I think it would be easier for communication purposes because I am not getting what's been said.
Ajimbi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Abbas is
Heard
asking,
my-
what's the next step forward? Okay, yeah, he has typed it
Okay,
now.
next steps on IDTDP. So the next step on ID's teacher development program is we'll share ideas on how we can have like an alumni organization so that we can support the winners and the participants will be able to support one another and share opportunities for us to do greater and bigger things together and improve the quality of education and what we are doing with students. And then we'll also see how we can improve and work on as in promoting the SDGs that we are all supporting in our different schools. More of the next steps will be shared on another platform. Thank you.
All right, before we go, can I quickly see if we can get this? And I'm putting a request.
I don't understand. Can you repeat your question, please, Mr. David?
I said putting a request before we go on behalf of the winners of tonight. I'm thinking of a way of creating. If ID can come up with maybe a graphic design or something of the people that have won and something about ID so that the winners can also share and say something about ID on their own social media platforms.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'm not really hearing what you're saying, but if you can send me a message, I think I contacted you on WhatsApp. If you can send me a WhatsApp with all the information, I'll be able to answer you better. Is that okay?
All right,
Thank you very much. Okay, all right.
So I think it's a good night from here. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwefa. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Thank you all.